I'm Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'm a member of Congress representing South Florida, and I have 3 beautiful children, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. I first found out I had breast cancer when I went for an examination following discovering a lump while I was doing a routine self-exam in the shower one morning, and knew I was familiar enough and did self-exam often enough to, not religiously, but often enough to know what was normal for me, so I knew when something felt different, and went to see my doctor a few days later, and ultimately I had a biopsy actually that day, and was told when I came out of the biopsy that it looked clear and that I should be okay. And unfortunately, when the pathology came back a few days later, my doctor called me again and said that I had breast cancer. And when you get that news, particularly, well, anytime you get that news, it's devastating. But I was 41. My children were 4 and 9, and 9-year-old twins and a 4-year-old. It's like you have an anvil, that just crushes you, and everything else in your life kind of fades a little bit into the shadows. But my initial thought was, how many more birthdays would I get with my kids and anniversaries with my husband, and what stage breast cancer do I have? Is this going to be, there's just so much concern and doubt and angst. Because my children were so little, I really made a decision that cancer is a very scary thing, and anyone that they had known, they had not really had any experience with death at that stage of their lives, but anyone they'd heard about that had died of cancer. And given the travel schedule that my job requires, and the fact that I was going to be away, that I was away a lot, I felt like, let me get through this with as little information that I provide them as possible. So I told them, after I was all done, and I sat them down, and as I was about to share my story publicly, I wanted them to hear it from me. And the first question all 3 of my kids, my son and my 2 daughters, asked me is, are you really going to be okay? Is everything all right? Are you, and I reassured them, yes, everything's okay. I'm going to be around for a long time. Daughter, my son's twin sister, she asked me if I was going to be okay, and then her next question was, Mommy, am I going to get breast cancer? Does that mean I'm going to get breast cancer? And I can't tell her, no, you won't, because it turns out that I have the breast cancer gene as well. And so what I told her, and I explained what that meant to her, and I told her that we were going to make sure that she was aware of all the things that she needed to do to make it very likely that if she ever did have to deal with breast cancer, that she would, like me, be able to catch it early, and we would make sure that she had all the information she needed to do that. What happened was, when I had the test, and it took about a month for me to get the results back, and when we set the appointment for me to get the results, I opened the door to my doctor's office and realized there were way too many people in the room for the results to be negative. My healthcare experience through the years should not take everything at face value and ask for a second opinion, and don't be afraid to make sure that you get all the information you need. So I asked them, how reliable are these test results? And their response was, well, it's 100%. And my next question was, well, can I get a second opinion? Because what I was having to do was in response to a positive result, was very different than the diagnosis that I had required initially. I realized all in that moment of finding out that I was positive, that I was going to have to make life-altering decisions based on the results of one test potentially. So they said there are no second opinions. There's only one company that is licensed for to give the to do the test. That the gene itself is the gene mutations themselves are patented, and that there was only the one test that I had an option to take. It was really disturbing. My opinion is that I personally feel that genetic material should not be patentable. This is biological material that is mine. How could anyone else have the rights to it? And how is it that the law in this country could prevent me from being able to get all of the information that I need to have the confidence to make the right healthcare choices for me? I had to make a decision to have a double mastectomy, have my breasts removed, have my ovaries removed, and had a year of surgeries, 7 surgeries, based on the results of one test that I could not get an independent repeat of. And that's just unacceptable. I, in the short term, have sponsored legislation to, at least in the event, regardless of what the Supreme Court decides, at least it would be allowable for second opinion testing to take place, so that you would allow the company that has the patent to do the test, and that's the first test that would be done, but that the answer to the question that I asked when my results came back, can I get a second opinion that's independent, would be yes. Knowledge is power. I mean, it's absolutely critical that you focus on what is normal for you so that you are able, as soon as possible, to know when something feels different. And also, just on genetic-based breast cancer, as involved as I was in, you can never know enough. You should always be educating yourself and always pay attention, because I was involved as a legislative advocate in the state legislature. I passed the law in Florida that prohibited drive-through mastectomies, and years later, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, did not know that as an Ashkenazi Jewish woman, I was 5 times more likely to carry the breast cancer gene. I mean, and if I didn't know, then think about how many women at risk don't know. So we have a lot more educating to do, and we need a lot more vigilance on the part of individual women. Don't sweep it under the rug. Make sure that you take responsibility for your own health and for the information that you need.